Make a lot of noise for Iz.
Keep it going, everybody. Keep it going.
How's it going, everybody? How's it going? Oh, listen. My boy told me I had to do this something. Anyways, I've kind of been going through a midlife crisis lately. So I've been looking back at my life, just looking for like positive moments to make me feel better. Unfortunately, I look back at 7th grade, and when I really started thinking about it, I wasn't as cool as I thought I was. You know, I thought I was pretty cool in the 7th grade, but the truth is, around that time I had just moved from the east side of Lubbock to the west side of Lubbock. We got into Section 8 housing. So I went from being around nothing but black people to being around white people for the first time. So it was kind of a culture shock, learning experience. But when I moved over to the white side of town, I actually got diagnosed with dyslexia. And it was kind of interesting how they did the test, because they brought my mom and me in and they told her that they thought that I might have a learning disability. So they asked her what my last name was, and she said his last name's Mosqueda. They were like, yeah, he has a learning disability, put him in fucking special ed. So anyways, I did 6th grade over there. I did special ed for the first time. It was interesting. They were trying to teach me to read and write and all kinds of bullshit. But 7th grade came around, and I ended up having to go to a different school than all my homies. All my homies were going to what was called Smiley Wilson, because that was our school district. But since I had special ed, dyslexia or whatever, they had to send me to a different school, which they referred to as a magnet school. I didn't know what the fuck that meant. I thought they made magnets or some shit. But apparently they had a real good program for dyslexic kids or something. So I ended up getting bussed over there. The fucked up thing about that is, you know, at that age, you're trying to be cool, trying to get girls, everything, right? The only fucking bus that would take me from my apartments to that school was a short bus. I can't make this shit up. It was a fucking short bus. And on this short bus, when I fucking got on that bus the first time, my introduction to the short bus was this big old white boy that was, they called him legally retarded. I know that's a bad word, but that's what he was. My man was laying on the fucking ground in the middle with throw up on his shirt and shit. And they were like, just climb over him and get in your chair. And I was like, okay. You know, when I got my fresh kicks and shit, so I'm just like, let me get in there. And then we driving, and we picked up, who ended up being my homeboy. I call him Professor X. He was in a wheelchair. So we went to pick up Professor X, and they got this loud ass fucking door that opens up. You know, pick him up, bring him in. So it's me, Professor X, and homeboy. But anyways, you know, we're riding around, and one thing that kind of pissed me off about this is I always questioned how mentally challenged that dude really was, because throughout the year, he liked to sit behind me on the bus. But he would literally kick me in the back of the fucking head and just start laughing like, and I would get mad and tell his handler, like, hey, this motherfucker's hitting me in the back of the head. She's like, well, he don't know any better. He did it every fucking time. I'll talk about one time, he was laying in the middle of the fucking thing. I stepped over him. I swear the minute I sat down, somehow he was behind me. And I was like, the fuck? And then he's kicking me. So I'm just like, fuck, man. But anyways, every morning they'd pick us up, right? So we'd have to go to school. And, you know, you're trying to be cool, man. You don't want people to see you pulling up in the fucking short bus. But we would just happen to show up at the same time as the other buses. And of course, our shit's blasting fucking the wheels on the bus go round and round, you know? So everybody's looking at us. And so I'm trying to get off the bus, you know, as much as I can without being seen. And so I would wait, look around. Everybody got off. I would try to jump off and run away from the bus. Homeboy, I guess he liked me. He fucking get off the bus and come up behind me and be like, Ismael! And he fucking wrap his arms around me and hug me, and he had like superhuman strength and shit. And I'll be like, get the fuck off me! And all of a sudden, here comes Professor X. And everybody's like, did Iz just get off that fucking bus right there and shit? I'm like, no, I don't know them. And then, of course, we went to the same fucking classroom. Anyways, even though I had all this shit going on, I still thought I was cool in my head. But then, like, visually, I realized I wasn't as cool either because we were poor, so I never really got to go get a haircut. So at this time, I decided I was gonna try to cut my own hair. So I used to give myself buzz cuts. I didn't realize that I was missing a whole lot when I would try to cut. So I'm trying to cut my hair, missing all kinds, thinking I got a buzz cut. My cousins, who may or may not allegedly develop, they had bought me a nice ass chain. And I was so proud of my chain that they bought me, but that bitch broke halfway through the school year. So for some reason, I decided that I'm gonna put a freaking shoelace to finish off the chain. So I had half shoelace, half chain. And so I looked kind of, I belong in special ed, But I'll end on this. I remember it was almost towards the end of the year. I had a homeboy at the same apartments that I realized went to the same school as me. And he wasn't in special education. He was in a program called Jumpstart. It was like if you failed, you could do 2 classes and move up to where you're supposed to be. So I told homeboy, I said, how do you get to school? He was like, bro, a bus picks us up and takes us. And so we're standing outside waiting. Sure enough, a fucking big ass bus with regular kids pulls up at the same time as my wheels on the bus go round and round. And I'm like, what the fuck, why am I riding this bus? So I went home after school that day and I told my mom, I said, why the fuck do I have to ride that bus when there's a whole other bus that fucking picks us up and takes us over there? She said, because they said you're dyslexic. So I was just like, all right, whatever. That's all. I ain't got nothing to finish it off. I'm just telling the truth over here. I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
One more time for Iz, everybody. This is apparently turned